Yeah, welcome back to The Culture, the hottest broadcast in the game. Go to my playlist section. We have already released over 30 episodes, and we have an entire playlist dedicated to this series. Now, in this series, we shine a light on who's really committing some of the most heinous crimes here in the United States and around the world. This project was inspired by years of me listening to certain conservative voices in the media focus on so-called crime in the black community as if crime was unique to us. So that pushed me to dig deeper into the true crime data, the headlines, and the statistics to see where the true criminality is actually coming from. Now, everything I'm discussing is based on publicly reported cases and verified information for educational and commentary purposes only. Also, if you come across a story you think deserves to be showcased on The Culture, send it to me in my email in the description, kingnefakari@gmail.com. Now, let's get into today's episode. Now, you've seen the title. You know what time it is. Once again, we are calling into question the integrity and the objectivity of the conservative talking head grifters, right? And when I say that, I'm usually talking about guys like Matt Walsh, Steven Crowder, and those in that ecosystem. Individuals who've been making a lot of noise about crime in the black community and creating a narrative that you're not safe around black men. So that's why we had to create The Culture to really examine where the true crime is actually coming from, how come certain stories are not being amplified, and how come certain stories are being buried in the media, and how come certain stories are being maximized and given full exposure. So today we're going to talk about the unfortunate tragedy that took place with a young teenager by the name of Kimber Mills. And when I heard about the story and I seen the victim and I read about what happened, I'm telling you, if the suspect in this case was black, we would not stop hearing about this case for the next 6 months. But unfortunately, due to the fact that the suspect in this case was white, you're never going to hear anybody really talk about it, especially in that conservative ecosystem, the conservative media, the conservative talking head grifters. For example, the unfortunate story of Iryna Zarutska. You have guys like Matt Walsh. Take a look up on the screen a couple days ago. He dropped a video. Have you forgotten about Iryna Zarutska? That happened like 2 months ago. He's still talking about it still to this day because the suspect was black, but you have Kimber Mills, right? So I went to Matt Walsh's channel today. What is he talking about? He's talking about some lady that's on his TV show, The View, Sunny Hostin, right? He's talking about the lady on The View, right? So then I go to guys like Steven Crowder. You know, he recently did a show where he went to the black barbershop to talk about, you know, the black community, right? Then I go to his channel, and what is he talking about? He's going off on Candace Owens, right? He's not talking about the tragedy that occurred with Kimber Mills. Now, if you didn't hear about this story, I touched on it in a previous episode real quickly, but to get back into it, as you can see by the headline, a high school cheerleader shot at a party dies from her injuries and donates her organs. Now, they made a big deal about Iryna Zarutska, and it was a tragedy what occurred to Iryna Zarutska, but she wasn't even an American citizen. She was a European refugee. Now, here you got homegrown American citizens, right? High school cheerleaders, right? The stereotypical American image, and a tragedy occurs, a mass shooting event. You know, the cheerleader dies, and we don't hear the conservative talking head grifters, doing 3-hour live streams and going on social media, going on X, going viral, calling for war and retribution against the perpetrator. We're going to break him out the jail cell and we're going to get justice. You notice you don't hear the calls for justice and vengeance in this scenario, right? You notice you don't hear conversations about the so-called culture. We have to examine the culture that encourage such behavior, right? But if the suspect was black, like I said, man, it would be never-ending conversations. We got to take a trip to the black barbershop, you know what I mean, to have a community conversation. But anyways, for those who are not familiar with the case, so Kimber Mills was an 18-year-old high school student, a cheerleader, and on the track team, right? And she was hanging out with her friends at the bonfire, just hanging out, kicking it with her other friends, you know, in a similar age group, you know, teenagers just hanging out, doing what teenagers do, right? So here comes the suspect, a gentleman by the name of Stephen Whitehead. Now he's up in age. He's almost 30 years old, right? Keep in mind, you know, she's 18 years old. She's chilling with a bunch of teenagers at the bonfire, right? So this guy comes along. He tries to talk to one of the girls. Now, keep in mind, like I said, he's almost 30, and these girls are, you know, high school students, and they chilling at the bonfire. So here he comes, a stranger comes and tries to have a conversation with one of the high school students, right? I guess one of the high school students, the girl, she was there with her boyfriend. So the boyfriend was like, bro, what you doing? Like, this is my girl. Like, who are you? Like, get out of here, right? So altercation ensues, confrontation occurs. Somehow he pulls out a weapon and he just sprays the whole place. He shoots the whole bonfire up. He shoots the whole gathering, right? a bunch of people get caught in the crossfire. You know, this one dude got shot, another girl got shot, and Kimber Mills got shot. And then, unfortunately, she ended up getting shot in the head and other parts of her body. And she was on life support for multiple days. And they took her off life support recently. And then she passed away. You know, tragic. You know, dude committed a mass shooting because some little girl in high school didn't want to talk to him, right? Take a look up on the screen. Multiple reports corroborate the account that Stephen Whitehead, the suspect, was unknown to Kimber Mills, the victim. So time out. This was a complete stranger. She got shot to death at the bonfire by a complete stranger, right? A total tragedy. An American cheerleader and the conservative talking head grifters ain't gonna say a word about it. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Now let's continue. Multiple reports corroborate the account that Stephen Whitehead was unknown to Kimber Mills and her friends before he allegedly shot her during a fight at a bonfire in Alabama in October 2025. Whitehead, the suspect, was reportedly involved in an argument with another person, and Kimber, the victim, was caught in the crossfire. According to Kimber's sister, Whitehead, the suspect, approached and tried to talk to one of Kimber's friends. So time out, like I said, this guy, you know, he almost 30, right? I don't even know. He just approached a random bonfire, seen a bunch of teenagers kicking it, and he decided, I'm gonna come in, you know, say what's up and try to kick it to one of the girls, right? Let's continue. He tried to talk to one of Kimber's friends and offered her a drink. The girl told her boyfriend about the unwanted advances, and a confrontation ensued, right? So a stranger comes around, and naturally her boyfriend is gonna be like, bro, get out of here. What are you doing here? Who are you? And then he gets angry, gets upset, confrontation, violence, physical altercations, guns blazing. He opens fire. Multiple people get hit. Kimber gets shot in the head by a straight bullet. She later dies when she gets taken off life support at the hospital. Like I said, man, this has all the makings of the perfect tragedy that the conservatives can weaponize and talk about for the next 60 days, the same way they did for Iryna Zarutska. What makes this story less significant than Iryna Zarutska that it's not worth the constant coverage? 2 months later, they're still making videos. How come they don't want to talk about Kimber Mills? What's the difference? Why do you guys have a habit of magnifying certain stories, but then you want to bury and minimize and keep it under wraps when it comes to other stories? We have to have a conversation, man. Let us know if you actually believe in what you're saying and you actually believe in what you're talking about, or you're just here to push propaganda and create narratives. Let us know where you stand. That's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying. I guarantee if there were teenagers at a bonfire and an older black man, almost 30 years old, approaches random teenagers, right, armed with a weapon, and then he tries to romantically initiate a conversation with one of the teenagers, right, and then he gets rejected, and then he comes back and shoots up the entire gathering and shoots an innocent cheerleader in the head. Not only would the conservative talking head grifters be making a big deal about it for the next 6 months, but you would have lawmakers talking about law and order. All the conservative media publications would run the story consistently. Every commentator will be talking about, man, the fatherless homes and the black culture, things like that, right? But in this case, we don't see any deep dive segments. Nobody's panicking. Everybody's quiet. Nobody's calling for vengeance and retribution, right? Suddenly, because, like I said, the suspect isn't black, it doesn't fit the narrative. They can't politicize the tragedy. So they just act like it didn't even happen. And when you guys do this, you expose to the world that you have no integrity. You are simply here to push a political agenda, and you will use anybody's dead body in order to do it, right? And if the dead body is not politically convenient, then you'll act like you don't even see it. But anyways, let's get into some of these other stories, man. Take a look up on the screen. A worship leader who sang at a Trump rally has been charged over illegal images and videos involving minors. It never stopped. It never stopped. Now, anyway, you know we got to get into the intro. I almost forgot. So play the intro and we're going to be right back.
If you didn't know already, white men make up 29% of the U.S. population, but are accounted for over 77% of the people caught with child. You know what?
What's that? Get the away from me now, I'm gonna knock your off, son. Why is he doing this? I just want to leave. I've got my property, I just want to leave. I didn't touch him. Palms together. Why are you guys doing this? I didn't touch him.
Now let's get back into it. As you can see, Texas pastor and a Christian singer has been arrested for illegal images and videos involving minors. Man, let's get into this story. The suspect, John Sheptock, has been arrested on felony charges. The investigation by the Montgomery County Precinct and Child Exploitation Unit began back in August 2025. After detectives received information that suspect Mr. Sheptock was allegedly in possession as well as involved in the production of illegal images and videos involving minors. Now, Like we mentioned before, the government breaks it down into various categories: the production, the distribution, and the consumption. Of course, this demographic dominates all three sectors, especially the production at almost 70%, which means that the vast majority of illegal images and videos involving minors was produced by this demographic. How can you be only 29% of the American population and almost 70% of the producers of such demonic material? Anyway, let's continue. On September 2025, detectives attempted to arrest the suspect at his residence, but he was not there. Authorities later located and apprehended the suspect at Dr. Lane Murray's prison, where he had been providing ministry services to inmates. He was booked into the jail and has been awaiting extradition. Now let's continue. Next story. A 21-year-old entitled brat mows down the cops with his Mercedes G-Wagon after a routine traffic stop. Let's get into it. 21-year-old Dalton Janizek has been charged with attempted murder of a police officer. The situation involved multiple collisions and attempts to run over the police officers with his vehicle. The situation began around noon when a police sergeant attempted to stop the suspect in his white Mercedes G-Wagon after receiving information that the suspect was driving erratically and threatened to blow up a police department in Chester County. The suspect refused to stop and fled at high speeds. A police officer located the vehicle parked at a DoubleTree. When the officer activated his emergency lights, the suspect immediately put his vehicle in reverse and rammed the police officer repeatedly. When the officer exited his vehicle, the suspect reportedly drove his large SUV directly at the officer, striking and knocking him down. As the injured officer lay down on the ground, attempting to apply a tourniquet to his leg wound, the suspect allegedly circled back and struck the officer 3 additional times with the vehicle. The officer had discharged his firearm at the SUV in an unsuccessful attempt to stop the attack. The suspect then fled the scene, initiating a pursuit. The pursuit ended when the suspect intentionally crashed the Mercedes-Benz head-on into another police car, injuring the officer inside. Now, time out. Don't we always hear from the conservatives the importance of respect for authority? You know, respect authority, comply with the police officers. Maybe if he had a father in the home and then he learned the importance of respect and compliance, then this wouldn't be happening. He wouldn't be in the middle of the street trying to ram his Jeep into the damn police. But anyway, next story. A man faces 7 felony counts for illegal images and videos involving minors. Let's get into it. It never stopped. Suspect Casey DeForest Douglas Erdman was arrested on felony charges. The suspect was a man who regularly crossed state lines for employment. The investigation began by the sheriff's department after receiving a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The investigation traced the materials to a phone number and 2 emails linked to the suspect. A search warrant was executed at his residence, and authorities uncovered approximately 210,469 illegal images and 29,479 illegal videos of minors engaged in illegal activity. No, time out, bro. Time out. We have broken the record once again. The previous record was held by the doctor at the Children's Hospital. The authorities discovered over 150,000 illegal images and videos in his possession. Before that, the record was held by another individual. I believe it was about 50,000, right? And before that, the record was held by another individual. The first record was 7,000. That was the largest. We first started the series, it was 7,000. Then somebody had broke that. That was like 10,000. Then somebody came back with the 50,000. Then the doctor with the 150,000. Now this guy, 250,000, bro. No, it was like 210,000 images and 29,000 videos, right? So approximately almost 250,000, almost 250,000 illegal images and videos involving minors, bro. This demographic is totally out of control and unhinged and totally off the chain, bro. Like 29% of the population. And you're dominating in this sector of crime. Crimes categorized as the exploitation of children. You're dominating in this sector at over 70%. And you're only 29% of the US population. Over 200,000 illegal images and videos, bro. Almost 250,000. And nobody has a conversation about this demographic. Imagine black men were getting arrested for this crime every single day, getting caught with hundreds of thousands in our possession, in our hard drives. Bro, this is totally out of control, man. This is totally out of control, bro. Take a look up on the screen. I have to put it on the screen so you really understand how insane this is. The investigation revealed approximately 210,469 photos and 29,479 videos. And it's crazy because when they talk about crime in America, they want to limit the crime in America to street level crimes, right? Urban crimes, inner city crimes, organized crime, gang activity. But we never talk about crime like this. This is also highly organized predatory crime, crimes against children. Over 240,000 illegal images and videos of children, right? This is a dedicated criminal. This is a high level criminal, right? Not in the inner city, in the suburban environments, right? In the American suburbs. Look like the average guy walking down the street, a regular guy. But look at this massive scale of criminal activity against the children that he's engaged in, bro. And according to the court documents, the children depicted in the illegal images and videos were as young as 7 years old. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of images, bro. And nobody wants to have a conversation about this criminal activity in the mainstream. Why? We want to spend time talking about Chicago and Memphis and dudes standing on the street corner, but we never want to talk about individuals like this in the community walking amongst us every single day. But nobody wants to have a conversation about these guys getting arrested every single day, getting federal indictments every single day, getting search warrants executed on their residences every single day. Nobody wants to have a real conversation. This is crazy, bro. I never would have imagined that I would see somebody get arrested and the numbers would be this high. Just in the last month alone, just since we started this series alone, we have had individuals arrested 7,000, 10,000, 50,000, 150,000, now 250,000, right? Just in 1 month. We've only been doing this series for a single month. Can you imagine what it's going to look like after doing it for a whole year? Bro, this is totally out of control. And this is why the numbers look the way they look. This is why I say this demographic dominates when it comes to the production, the distribution, and the consumption. You're already almost 70% of all the producers of this illegal material. And of course, you're the biggest consumers because look how one man has a hard drive of over 200,000. Just one man alone. And just like any other form of activity, the demand is what drives the production, right? So when you have guys like this, who obviously they have a very high demand for this type of activity and material, that's what motivates the producers to go out and produce more illegal material, which then leads, of course, to more victims, right? So guys like this are what drives the industry. Guys like this, right? They're the biggest producers and the biggest consumers. This is a major problem internationally because if you remember, this goes beyond the United States. Because if you remember, the judge down in South Carolina, that judge who got caught last month, during the investigation, they realized that he was communicating with individuals from the UK, right? So this is international. We have guys in different continents, different countries communicating with each other, sending illegal material across the water. This is crazy what this demographic got going on, bro. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I'm stunned. I'm totally taken aback. 240,000, bro. 240,000. Man, I really thought that we were never going to get higher than 50,000. When the record was broken at 50,000, I thought there's no way it's going to be higher than that. And just a couple of days after that, the doctor came with 150,000. And I really thought it was never, ever going to be higher than that. Now we're at 240,000. Now, I really think that there's no way that this could be topped. There's no way you could get higher than 240,000. There's simply no way. There's simply no way. But you know, when it comes to this demographic, listen, they always surprise me. Just when you think it can never get worse, bro, it gets 10 times worse. But I could never imagine it getting worse than this. 240,000, bro, that's thousands upon thousands of children, bro. We got a problem in this country. We have a serious problem in this country. We have a serious problem in this country, bro, where one man is walking around with the evidence of abuse of thousands of children. And these type of stories are coming out every day, every week. This is totally insane. Like, I can't even continue the episode. We have to end the episode right here, bro. We're going to come back at the next episode of The Culture. I'm taking it back. We have to just end it right here. Like, I need to take a break. I need to go to sleep. This is bonkers. This is totally insane. This is totally insane, bro. This is wild. It's your boy Neferkari Salim back in the building. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the Patreon, NTD1814. Next single off the next project, The Spy in Bamako. Pin comment at the top, and I'm gone. Peace. feel like a see me, I feel like I'm Saudi or ran up on Yana in the middle of Bamako. Enemy line, they claiming he innocent. Don't do no talking, I gotta move militant. Don't do no talking, I hit him with facts. 1804, bringing it back. 1804 like I'm Mother Cap Henry. King with the vision, the crown never empty. Top of the mountain, my soldiers defend me. Ducking and dodging the foreign intelligence. Hitting my dance on the DGSE. Dodging they traps, still on my feet. Feeling impeccable, feel like I'm shining. Go to my neck and I'm flooded with diamonds. Go to my neck and I feel like a mess. Feel like a lion, I'm in the savannah. Feel like the king when I'm up in the jungle. Never defeated, I never been humble. Come out victorious every encounter. Money machine give me help when I count it. Money machine stack it up in a beat. Heart of a king and I ride for the team. Weight of the world got it stuck on my shoulders. Bet you can feel it, my heart getting colder. Yeah, gotta stay focused so when it's in shots, I gotta react. Cause I'm a target, I'm under attack. Grabbing a weapon, I tell her get back. Mission exposed, secrets unfold. Enemy try, but I'm still in control. Got your boy sitting in Bamako prison. Hoping they wish we sending them home. Enemy know that we good under pressure. Been through the thunderous, turbulent storm. Shorty a diamond, I told her she pressure. Hop in a whip and I'm taking her home. Hop in a whip and I'm swerving, I'm smashed. Killing my enemies, one of my passion. Rocking this gold like we in bikini. Feel like the captain, I'm clutching a heater. Yeah, gotta stay focused so when it's in shots, I gotta react. Cause I'm a target, I'm under attack. Grabbing a weapon, I tell her get back. Mission exposed, secrets unfold. Enemy try, but I'm still in control. Got your boy sitting in Bamako prison. Hoping they wish we sending them home. Enemy know that we good under pressure. Been through the thunderous, turbulent storm. Shorty a diamond, I told her she pressure. Hop in a whip and I'm taking her home.